Mother's Day tribute, I wanted to share a story. Some of you may have heard about it. It's called The Grandmother's Gathering. A busboy who worked in a cafe whose window faced the public park noticed that two grandmotherly-looking women had been standing in the park all day without moving at all and without talking. They were dressed up in their Sunday best and were just staring at Town Hall. He asked the other patrons in the cafe what they thought the women were up to. They speculated on a variety of things. Then a 5-year-old who was in the cafe spoke up and said, "One of them is my grandmother, and I know what they are doing. They're standing out there to save the world." All of the men in the cafe laughed. And on his way home, the busboy decided to ask the women what they were doing. And sure enough, their answer was, "We're saving the world." Over dinner that evening, the busboy told his parents, and he and his father laughed and hooted. But his mother was totally silent. After dinner, the mother called her best friends to tell them what she had heard. The next morning, the busboy looked out the cafe window, and the two women were back, along with his mother, her friends, and the women who had been in the cafe the day before. All were standing in silence, staring at the town hall. Again, the men laughed and said things like, "You can't save the world by standing in a park. That's what we have armies for. And everyone knows you have to have banners and slogans to save the world. You can't do it by standing in a park." The next day, the women were joined by the women who were in the cafe the day before and a number of their friends. This brought the local newspaper reporter to the scene. He wrote an angry article about the woman, making fun of their attempt. And the day after it appeared, hundreds of women showed up to stand in the park in silence. The mayor then told the police chief to make the women leave because they were making the town to appear foolish. When the police chief told them that they would have to disperse because they didn't have a permit, one of them responded, "We're just individuals standing in the public park. We're not giving speeches or having a demonstration, so why would we need a permit?" The police chief thought about it. He agreed with them and left the park. At this point, 2,223 women, including the mayor's wife, the police chief's wife, and the one 5-year-old girl standing in the park to save the world. The news quickly spread, and soon women were standing all over the country. The story ended with women standing in every country throughout the globe, standing to save the world. And the sign that they read says, "We are standing for the world's children and grandchildren, for the 7 generations beyond them. We dream of a world where all of our children will have safe drinking water, clean air to breathe, and enough food to eat. A world where they have access to basic education to develop their minds and health care to nurture their bodies. A world where they have a warm and safe and loving place to call home. A world where they don't live in fear of violence, in their home, in their neighborhood, in their school, or in their world. This is the world with which we dream. This is the cause for which we stand."